let's start off with a story that I just can't wrap my head around. Billy Corgan and the NWA. So they just had a pay-per-view. Yeah. And from what I understand, Jim Mitchell, who I love and respect, he is so talented and a sweetheart and a friend of mine. And I have to get him on this show because he's one of the guys that we have not had. So I'm going to reach out I need to reach out to Jim, to be honest with you. But they did a pay-per-view and there was a spot that shouldn't have been done. No. And it was Jim Mitchell sitting at ringside with, I guess you can call them ladies of the evening, ladies of the night, girlfriends. I don't know. Ladies, lady friends, snorting cocaine, doing drugs out in the open in front of everyone. And they had a TV deal on the line. And because of that spot, it was the CW?
Yes.
Pulled their deal. And Billy Corgan, from what I understand, is the one that pushed for that spot to be on pay-per-view. Now, this is a company that has been limited to YouTube for their NWA Power show.
Yep.
So getting any kind of TV deal, whether it be like a national, a syndication, whatever it is huge for business, is huge for your company. And I just feel like he should have known better with this spot. We always like to push the envelope in wrestling. We like to be risky. We like to be, cutting and on the edge and stuff like that. But when you have deals on the table that can, more or less break everything you worked so hard for and take it away, you would think he would have thought twice about somebody. Now, technically, he wasn't really doing cocaine. Let's just put it out there. It is a wrestling show. But the thought of somebody snorting cocaine, in the public eye on a pay-per-view, that doesn't really sit well with TV executives, in my opinion.
No.
Why on earth would Billy push something like this? And now I'm hearing that there is so much backlash from the boys in the locker room, because this could have been huge for everybody as a whole in NWA. And because of this stupid spot that they did, look, they lost it. Now, I'll tell you what, when I say there's a similarity that I understand, back when I worked for WEW, which was an all-girls pay-per-view company, if you haven't seen it, try to look them up because it's ridiculous. They had me do a spot. Now, this was in a promo. It wasn't on a live show. They had me do a spot where I was sitting at a table and there was a mountain of baby powder in front of me. And it was like, isn't there a scene in Scarface where he just puts his face in the...
Yes.
I was doing the same thing. They wanted me to be like this because I lost the GM spot. I lost the spot. So now I turned to drugs and drinking, apparently. So they had me sit at this table and they literally poured a whole thing of baby powder and I was to stick my head. And I kept saying, this isn't a good thing to do. I don't think it ever aired because I was really against it. We went with the alcohol thing and I did come out with like a bottle that was full of water, but we pretended it was vodka and I pretended I was drunk and I cut a promo as a drunk person, which was kind of fun to play. But the cocaine thing, I just remember, and this was 20 years ago or something. I said, this is taking it a bit too far. Like, I when I put my head up, I was covered in just white powder. So that's the similarity. Like we did this 20 years ago, but it never aired. Something like this, when you have like some kind of national TV deal on the table, it's in poor taste. It's just unfortunate because these guys and girls go out there every single week and bust their asses, and they deserve to be seen on a bigger platform. And to have it taken away from you because of one dumb decision, it must just be heartbreaking. And, as a person who saw a TV deal slide out from under them, like, I feel for every single person in that locker room. And I don't know how true it is, but I did hear from certain people that, like, everybody's pissed at Billy. So what are your thoughts on that?
It was a very dumb spot. It was absolutely in bad taste. But, you got to give them credit for trying to do something outside the box in a way. But one thing that I always just don't ever like, my big thing is never announce something before it's done. I would never have announced this TV deal, period. And that was the thing that was the first no. Allegedly, from what I understand and have heard from different sources, this wasn't even a full-fledged TV deal. This was apparently just a digital deal. So I don't even think they were going to be on the full-fledged CW network. This was just going to be like CW digital, so it would be similar to like what they were doing on YouTube. So to even blow that is even worse and possibly dumber than blowing even the TV deal, because you didn't even make it to the TV. You might not be making it to the digital side. But the thing that I just don't get about Billy Corgan's NWA and Billy Corgan running the NWA. I went to Smashing Pumpkins live 2 months ago in my local outdoor venue. The show was awesome. He sounds amazing, right? He still got it. You still got it, right? Billy Corgan. He sounds phenomenal. What does he get out of doing the NWA at this point? If he's not going to go big, he should go home. I don't know why they're still doing this. And for him to do a spot so misguided and get the backlash that it's well-deserved, because it is 2023. It's not 1998. You kind of getting what you're paying for here. You're getting what you deserve. And with Father James Mitchell, a character who is timeless in his own right, doesn't necessarily translate well to 2023. You know what I mean? He's a guy that if you're going to bring him into a current product, you might need to tweak it a little bit, because that character itself is rough around the edges and maybe not, palatable for the modern wrestling audience.
Okay. Well, going back,
I love the character. I will say that. I love him. I love Sinister Minister. I love them. James Vandenberg in WCW. Always loved what he did. But I just think this current wrestling audience isn't ready for Jim Mitchell.
So I feel like this about Billy. He has always been passionate about wrestling. And I mentioned it before. Being in ECW, he would come to the shows as a fan and come to the back in the dressing room and hang out and talk to everybody. Super nice guy. I don't know him well. I mean, I talked to him when he came to the shows, but he always had a passion for the business. We let him do some stuff in the ring, and he seemed like he was right at home with it. He loved it. He embraced it. So, for him to be able to run a company as a fan, same with Tony Khan, as a fan, now you have complete power and you're in control of like a whole locker room. I mean, can you imagine just, coming from the front row, and now everybody comes to you and you're writing angles and storylines, and you're in control of money and just everything. Like he's probably like so excited to just be in the business that maybe, even though it's better to be on a bigger platform, maybe he doesn't really care if they get big. Maybe he's content with just being on YouTube. Now, I don't know. I don't know how his brain works, but whether, he's on YouTube or if they went to that next level, would what happened with us with TNN have happened to them? Would the CW go and say, okay, we're going to change this, this, and this, because that's what happened to us.
Right.
And as edgy and cool as we were on syndication, we were nothing like that when we went to TNN. Absolutely nothing, because the network, as we called it, had their thumb down on us and told us what we could do and what we can't do. So here's a conspiracy theory. Was Billy sabotaging himself? Is he content to be, on the level that he is and keep full control himself? If he gets too big, are other people going to chime in and tell him what to do and what not to do? I don't know. But that's what happened to us. You always want to go farther than you can, but sometimes when you get there, it's not what you expect. That's just one way to look at it. And I'm not saying that's the right way. That just popped into my head. And I was like, wow, maybe he just did it, because he just doesn't want to grow.